This is Why Am I a Mets Fan, a podcast hosted by Samantha Croston and Ashley Wenskoski.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Why Am I a Mets Fan podcast. That's Ashley Wenskoski. I'm Samantha Croston, and we are two Syracuse sports reporters. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us. Be sure to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. We are here after the Mets were so back, and now they're not. And we don't know what's going on. And Ashley has an announcement to make.
I have an announcement to make. Hello, everyone. I'd like to give some context on when we're recording this because it's about to come out at a weird time today. And for that, I do apologize. The Mets are playing right now because it's Labor Day and it was a 1 o'clock game. They are currently winning, I believe, 10-6. So disclaimer, or 10-7. 10-7 now. Disclaimer, that's a positive. It's the bottom of the seventh. The Mets are playing the Tigers in game 1 of that series. But we are here to recap more of the comings and goings of the Miami series because that's where I got upset. So all that brings me to, I am happy to announce personal news, as some like to say on social platforms. I have come around to reach acceptance with this team. Don't get me wrong, there will still be groveling and whining and complaining. However, the Miami series did something for me. And I reached acceptance. I reached that what this Mets team this year is a third NL wildcard team, is a second NL wildcard team.
That's right.
We are not winning the division. We are probably not coming close to sniffing that. There are 25 games left of the regular season, 24 after this one wraps up today. And the New York Mets are not going to win. They're not going to be your 2025 NL East division champions. And if they are, I will play that clip on repeat to prove myself wrong. But I'm just not really worried about that possibility right now.
For now, she's starting on her recovery.
Yep.
And that is okay.
I've reached numbness.
Well, we all knew it was coming, and I think at some point you really had to face that fact and look in the mirror simply because time was running out. Like from a mathematical standpoint, I'm not going to get into the numbers. Nobody start quizzing me on the median or the mean for a matter of fact.
Or the mode.
Especially the mode. I definitely don't want to hear that brought up on this podcast. But there are just only so many games left. And I think it was dwindling, and there was a lot of grief at first about it, and it felt like a Phillies-Mets fight. And then even when the Mets swept the Phillies, you thought, maybe.
We're so back.
But that Marlins series, to your point, and especially of all teams against the Marlins, it's like as much as the Mets own the Phillies, that is how much the Marlins own the Mets. And I would have to say I agree with you. I'm comfortable saying that this team is probably going to be in the third wild card spot. I still think they're going to be a playoff team. And then who knows? It's a new season. But that's just something I think it's okay for us to both make peace with and move on.
I think it's okay and important to make peace with it because I think for your own mental health, you need to do that. I think you also can recognize that nobody went out and had the offseason that they did and the momentum from last year and signing Juan Soto. Nobody did that to get the third NL wild card. So if you want to, this is a safe space. If you want to quantify the Mets regular season as a disappointment, even if they make the playoffs, I'm going to allow you to do that. I think that's valid because of what we were promised in the offseason.
We support you and we're okay with that. And we're feeling the same things you're feeling.
Yes.
But we want you to still feel encouraged by the fact that they can make the playoffs and see what happens once and if they do. The Mets are 73-64, 6 games back in the NL East. There are 25 games left to play, and that's just the situation. It's not an easy schedule to end the year.
Yes.
I'll have you know. There are 4 games ahead of the Reds for the final NL wildcard spot. That's also important. Like, let's at least be fair. For a while there with the Reds, it was getting a little freaky, and 4 games ahead of the Reds feels comfortable for me. That clip is also going to be on repeat a week from now, but for now I feel comfortable.
In particular, it might be on repeat because they, in fact, play 3 games against each other this week.
That's right.
So Halloween's coming around early. It's getting a little spooky.
Because they're going to get swept by the Reds.
No, don't say that.
I'm just saying, it's a reverse jinx. It's a reverse jinx because I need to, if we're preparing ourselves, we're preparing ourselves.
Okay.
Because that's, I think, when Mets fans, if that happens, really lose their minds and another crash out occurs.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the reason why we're kind of at bay right now, is thinking it's not what we expected, but there's still an opportunity to be in the playoffs.
I'm not happy with it, but there's still a playoff spot, right? And if that goes away or gets in serious danger after this weekend, then that's where I then encourage you to circle back around from acceptance and lose your mind once more.
Understand, Ashley will have a new announcement at that time.
Breaking.
Personal breaking news.
Happy to announce.
Yeah, we there will be some turmoil on this podcast. So just understand that a crash out could be on the way. And I'm going to be preparing for any outcome.
Anyway, see you next week for that.
Right.
Yeah, so the Mets have a .412 win percentage over the last 68 games. Obviously, we've been talking about it all summer long, right? You have to come around here at some point to the fact that the Mets had a really good first few months of the season, one of the best teams in baseball through June. In the last 68 games, that stat I just mentioned, only 5 teams have been worse. They are all in 4th or 5th place. So the Mets have not been very good down the stretch. They have not been very good in June or in July, August, and now into September. But we might start off September with a win, so that could be a positive.
Why'd you put a smiley face on your notes?
There's a few smiley faces sprinkled in here, which is me letting you know that I've circled around to acceptance. I'm smiling.
That is really upsetting to
Are you
me.
scared?
I've never seen that before.
It's not a good thing. It's not a real smile. It's like that smile somebody gives you when, like, yeah. Anyways.
That's a retro smiley face. That's like
yeah.
before iPhones came out.
No, it goes to change it for you, but I changed it back because I wanted it to look that way. Anyways. Fresh off of the sweep of the Phillies, right? We had hope again. We were feeling optimism. The Mets promptly lose 3 out of 4 to the Marlins, which, if you are a true Mets fan, I think you probably saw coming. The Miami Marlins in the last 5 to 10 years have really been this team's sleep paralysis demon, specifically in the months of August and September. And I would like to close that point with the fact that the Mets end the season against 3 games against the Marlins. So we'll see what happens there. Let's get into some of the spark notes of these games, and then I obviously, as usual, have some broader overarching points. But Friday, can I just paint everyone a picture? The sun was shining, the grass was green, the breeze, the smiley face was drawn, the breeze was beautiful, right? You just felt so good about life on Friday. The New York Mets win 19-9. They score 19 runs. Jonah Tong is like the freshest faced young chap I've ever seen out there. He's thrilled to be alive.
A chap.
He's a chap. Everyone's thrilled for Jonah Tong. The parents are in the stands. Everybody feels great. Tong has a good start, 5 innings pitched. Technically gave up 4 runs, but only one of them was earned. He's staying in the rotation. He's earned his spot. Go get him, Jonah. We're feeling great. The savior's here. And then it all goes to hell.
The Mets did win that game, by the way, 19-9. It was crazy. Like, I literally feel like that was such a long game. I kept looking over. I'm like, why is it still the freaking, like, second inning right now?
I know.
What the hell is going on? Obviously, you can all feel encouraged by the fact that the Mets have the capability to score 19 runs. Even today, like, that is so drunk. It is actually 10-7.
Yeah, Juan Soto has like 6
drunk.
RBIs. He had a grand slam. Good shit from, good stuff from Juan lately.
We got in trouble for that one.
Sorry.
Saturday, 11-8 loss. Fell down by 8 runs. Came all the way back to tie it. And then the bullpen blew it. Every single part of that sentence is equally astonishing.
Listen. Again, you felt so good off of Friday, right? Things were sunshiny again. Then Saturday, they fall down. It's like 8-2. David Peterson. I mean, David Peterson is out there. We'll have another conversation about the pitching in a minute. David Peterson is out there having like the worst start of the year. He gave up 8 earned runs in 2 innings, like not even competitive. Then they come all the way back, right? As we've said, hitting is not the overarching issue here down the stretch. They come all the way back to tie it 8-8. They have the chance to hit the go-ahead run. Bottom of the 7th, Jeff McNeil, of all people, triples to lead off the inning. He's standing on third base. He's waving at everybody. He's like, hey, guys, no outs.
He's happy.
I'm out here. I'm on third base.
Happy Jeff.
We can't muster a sacrifice fly. We can't muster a ground out that would be a fielder's choice that would get him into score. We actually can't muster anything. Whiff City. And he doesn't score. And then Diaz comes in, lets up 2 runs. They lose the game 11-8. It's all over.
There just has to be some more mustering. Where's the mustering?
He was right there. He was waving. He was literally calling out for help.
Ashley has a smiley face next to that. I just want everybody to know that. It's really important. Sunday, Senga's game, also a problem.
Sunday Senga.
5-1 loss. Senga, 4.2 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 7 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. ERA up to 3.02. He is having a rough go.
We need to talk about the Kodai Senga problem. Senga has a 5.9 ERA and 9 starts since coming off of the injured list in July. Basically, this rotation has become Tong and McLean and Pray for Rain, which I saw one of the Mets beat writers put on Twitter, which is really funny. I really like this. We stopped doing Tweet of the Week a long time ago, but I just have to get this out. Danny Abriano, he is like an SNY guy. He goes, quote, "This is one of the most frustrating Mets teams in recent memory. Have all ingredients to make deep run if they make the playoffs, and they'll likely make it, but they're on the verge of losing 3 of 4 to a bad Marlins team at home in the heat of a pennant race. Something hasn't quite been right all year." And of course, you can talk about whether that something is an intangible in the clubhouse, or you can talk about whether that something is just point blank the starting rotation, right? I'm not here to tell you, listen, Jonah Tong and Nolan McLean, if they continue to be revelations down the stretch and into next year for the future rotation, that's great. I'm not going to rain on that parade. That's awesome. We needed something like that, right? That homegrown internal talent. But you have to face the fact here that Stearns played the conservative game with this rotation, right? There were signs. There were signs in June about Senga and Manaea. There were injury signs. There were signs about Blackburn and Montas, who are now also hurt or not on the team. There were signs all year long that this rotation, the 5 men, 6 men at the beginning of the year, opening day, that they trotted out there and didn't trot out there because some of them were hurt, were not going to be good enough. And Stearns just didn't really do enough to fix it, right? Didn't make a move at the deadline because he said we like our options internally. Okay, great. Then waited a month plus past the deadline to promote those options. Tong and McLean are lovely, but you wouldn't be in the hole that you're in right now, maybe if you had given that a shot in late July instead of late August.
And listen, I feel like it's important to mention that there is still no way to know that for sure. With McLean, I agree, probably should have brought him up sooner, but like, Jonah Tong a month ago was literally in AA. Like,
AA.
I don't know that anybody, including Stearns, would have had the vision and the guts to pull him up from there. You know, like you probably had to see a little bit more from him. It was fast and it did work out so far. It's also only been 1 start. For McLean, I agree. He's awesome. Should have been here sooner. There's not one doubt about it. But maybe, if anything, even SPROAT, I mean, you could have brought him up sooner. You probably should still bring him up, to tell you the truth. I hope that is coming around the mountain.
I mean, Brandon SPROAT is out here still walking around Wegmans in Syracuse. Like, can we get Brandon SPROAT to New York? What is it? Do I have to pay for his plane ticket? Like, what is it going to take here?
Can you?
No.
But if we could, we would. No, listen, you put here also, and I think this makes sense. Obviously, the Marlins series was brutal, but it says the Marlins, Nationals, and Braves are a combined 7-5 against the Mets in August. Those teams are a combined 29-43 against everyone else this month. Maybe the thing that's been off all year is, why are they continuously losing or being swept against the bad teams? That makes my stomach hurt.
Yeah, and I think it's just the fact, right? It's the broader point that you finally get the momentum back. You sweep the Phillies. Okay, you're 4 games back. You got, a month plus to play, right? A month to make up 4 games. That's doable to me, right? You've won 8 of your last 11. You're hot. You own the tiebreaker against the Phillies. And then you just go and cough it up again against one of the worst teams in the division. Like, that is what has gotten to me, and that's why I've circled around to this just not being the year for this team, because there's an inconsistency problem, whether it relates to the starting pitching, whether it relates to the bullpen, whether it relates to something intangible. This team cannot consistently string together wins. They have hot streaks, even with the Phillies, right? They win 8 of 11 there. It's not even just the Phillies series. 5 of 6. There's streaks, but then there's bad streaks. And if it goes from blazing hot to really cold, that's not a recipe for consistent success in the playoffs or in the regular season.
You definitely needed to see a little bit more consistency this entire year than you've been seeing. And to Ashley's point, maybe you can look around for reasons that we might not even fully ever be able to clearly see, like what's going on in that clubhouse. But maybe you can look at the stats, you can look at the pitching, and you can look at the offensive production and think that maybe the reason has been right in front of you all along. Ashley has a really interesting section here. It says, "How much has the pitching been killing this team?" That's what it's titled. I didn't even know this. August was the best offensive month in Mets franchise history. James Buckley's like, "Yep, I knew that."
Go on a walk with me here. You're going to find yourself a bit unprepared for this one. So like you just said, best offensive month in Mets franchise history. They set a franchise record for most home runs in a calendar month and most runs scored in August. They hit 53 home runs. They scored 176 runs. They hit 289 as a team, 29 stolen bases, a few other things in there. They went 11-17. You have the best offensive month in the history of your franchise, both power-wise and just in terms of plain scoring runs. And you can't even break 500. In fact, 11-17 is starkly a losing record.
Like, far below it. I mean, it's not even close. And what hurts more is that it hasn't just been one or two players who have been hot. It feels like everyone is eating out there. Everybody's been hitting. I mean, even a guy like Jeff McNeil, I've been very impressed by what I've seen by him. Vientos, we had unanswered questions about that. He's answering them. He's proving a point. And then your normal traditional stars, like an Alonso, like an Nimmo, like a Lindor, it seems like everyone is doing their part. You have to imagine that dynamic of the hitters continuing to hit and the pitchers continuing to let the hitters down, I wonder if that's something that impacts morale behind the scenes. That's got to be tough.
Right. In particular, Saturday is a perfect example of that, right? Like the pitching puts them in a spot to not win the game. Peterson, okay, it's 8-2. The lineup, they come all the way back, it's 8-8, and then the bullpen blows it again. Like, you don't just, scoring 8 runs is not a casual rally, right? And you still lose the game. Today, they scored 10 runs. Friday, they scored 19 runs. Obviously, they won that game, and they figured to win this game today. But you're getting our broader point. I think the runners in scoring position was a valid issue for a big bulk of the season, and I'm not going to discount that, right? That put them in a spot in June or July where there was a lot of pressure on the pitching, for sure. But now, down the stretch, the lineup has woken up. You said it, Vientos, Alonso, Soto, all really hot. Soto's hitting like 400 the last month. So when all of that is put into culmination, this is where you're at, right? The lineup can only do so much every game, I guess is my point, if the starting pitching is just not even putting them in a spot to win. What are you supposed to do in that spot? David Peterson goes out there and gives up 8 runs, and it's like, all right, here you go. And then they do enough to almost come back and win the game, and they still can't.
Well, this is what we do on this podcast now, and we weren't always this way. It used to be a lot of rants. It still is a lot of rants, but I think now we're a little bit more solution-based. Also, us coming up with solutions as if we are the Mets decision makers and anything we say matters. But I think it's important to still do it just in case it does happen. And Ashley nailed it with the Tong prediction. And I do think I already alluded to this, not even knowing that she had this written down on the notes, but I feel like we both kind of can see what's coming next, being in Syracuse, understanding AAA baseball and the Syracuse Mets. SPROAT in, Senga out.
It's time. It's high time. First of all, I think it's been time for SPROAT. I think I would have liked to see the SPROAT experiment a little sooner, around the time McLean was called up or earlier.
Me too.
But that didn't happen, so we're not going to live in the past. Now you have a legitimate, and by the way, Minaya gave up like 5 runs today too. They're still going to win because they scored 10 runs. That's nice, again, but continues to go with the theme here, right? Minaya and Senga both do not look like themselves. Both look like 3-4 inning pitchers. You get into the 3rd inning with both of those guys, and it's just running around the bases, teeing off. So I think Senga, if you listen to Carlos Mendoza's post-game press conference after Sunday night, he did not sound like a man who was interested, tantalized, or intrigued by seeing Kodai Senga take the ball again in 6 days. He said, quote, a lot of non-competitive pitches, having a hard time competing in the strike zone. Pretty sure we're going to have some discussion what's next for him.
Oh, no.
I mean, that
Not
is
some
not promising
discussion.
if you're Kodai.
Not some
And then
discussion.
Senga got out there, and with the interpreter, he was saying post-game, he's a little bit confused. He doesn't know what's been going wrong. All of that is circling around to. I'm not even saying that it's permanent. Listen, the rosters are expanding at this point. It's playoff season. I need to give SPROAT a spot start, and maybe Senga just needs a rest one time around, right? You've already gone to the 6-man, which there's a variety of reasons for the 6-man rotation. Senga among them, because of the adjustment and whatever. Holmes and his innings limits among them. A few things happening there. But if the Mets promoted SPROAT and he started next Sunday in Cincinnati against the Reds in place of Senga, here's what it would do to the rest of the rotation. So first of all, both Peterson and Senga would then have 7 days rest in between starts, and that would allow them to, I guess, meditate, because that appears to be what they need to do. Also, then maybe Clay Holmes moves over to the bullpen, which feels like it's something that's coming, right? I don't know if Holmes is part of their playoff picture, and I'm not really sure that he should be. But inning limits wise, how many innings he's thrown already this year, it feels like that's coming down the pipeline. Or if you don't like that idea, if you would rather then move Senga to the bullpen for all I care. I'm sure he wouldn't like that because he seems a little more regimented in the starting spot and the preparation
I don't
for
like
that.
that.
I'm sure he wouldn't like that either. But then that would give you probables of against the Tigers. So today, Minaya pitched, you got McLean, Holmes, and then Cincinnati would be Tong, SPROAT, Peterson. I'm just going to say it right now at this time. Tong, SPROAT, Peterson against the Reds sounds a lot better than Tong, Senga, Peterson.
I understand. I don't blame you for saying it. Listen, SPROAT, I almost feel like got a little bit screwed because of that one time in AAA Syracuse. I think that was like around 2 weeks ago when they were like really looking at him and seriously considering him. And they moved him to the bullpen just for that one day.
Yep.
And he blew it. and I felt like that made people feel nervous. I wish that wouldn't have happened.
Though. Like, I don't even know if that's a fair judgment of him. The guy's out here, like, Brandon SPROAT, you can look at the stats, has legitimately been one of the best pitchers in AAA this season. Like, he could win AAA Pitcher of the Year.
That's my point. I do feel like, I wonder if a part of that, because if that's true though, like, then why did they skip him and go to Tong? Like, I just felt like that was a part of it because it was around the same time. And Tong has been great too. But SPROAT's been great, and he's been at the AAA level for longer this year, and he got skipped.
McLean, I think, was the obvious choice as this season wore on, right? Just the pure stuff, just the dynamics of his pitches. I think for him to be number one made sense to me.
Agree.
Then when we got into skipping SPROAT for Tong, I'm excited about Tong. I think he looks great, right? I know he was the exciting choice. He was the flashy choice. There was a lot of momentum from Mets fans there about Tong. But you still got SPROAT toiling away down here, and he's still doing great just this weekend. He had another, 7 innings pitch start, did great. So if I'm Brandon SPROAT, I'm kind of looking around like, what the hell else you guys want me to do?
That's kind of how I feel.
I had one bad appearance out of the bullpen, and I'm sorry, that's not really my role.
That's not even what he does. Listen, we've said it twice now, and twice it's paid off. If what you have currently is not working, change doesn't happen unless change happens. And to your point, if the whole idea for the Mets decision makers was that, well, we like our internal options, then can you please use them?
Yep.
That's all there is to say. Any other final thoughts? And then we'll get out of here.
No, final thoughts. I don't want to jinx it, but they're in the bottom of the 8th right now. So hopefully we get a Mets win to start off this series in Detroit. But it's 10-8 now, so actually no guarantees. I just look at the thing on Google and just the runs just go up for the other team. No guarantees, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if they make any SPROAT call-ups, if they make any adjustments to Senga in their rotation. But while I said I've circled back around to acceptance, and I have, at this point, you need to hold on to a playoff spot. They got this road trip, 3 at the Tigers. They have an off day on Thursday, 3 at the Reds, which has turned critical when we thought it may not. And then guess where they go for 4 more games? Philadelphia.
My final thought is, I just can't understand why they are continuously performing well or well enough against good teams, and they are continuously underperforming against bad teams. The Tigers have 80 wins right now in the season. It's a great team.
Yep.
And they're playing a great game against them. Too many runs to give up, but still they're scoring more. I'm going to need to see that against some of the weaker teams, or else it's going to be a problem. Playoffs or not, you need that consistency. It's a big word going into next week. Thanks so much, everybody, as always, for joining us. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I think by the next time you're here, the road to 10K, we might be there. We're coming in hot, 60 subscribers away. So please be sure to subscribe. We really appreciate it. We will see you back here when the next big thing happens.